how much do you think, like when you're training your clients, how much do you think a bodybuilder's physique can change when they focus on micronutrients more?
Oh, I don't think you can make that black and white answer. Now, for example, like I like to make a relative, I guess you could say it this way, all right? So if somebody's eating 150 grams of carbs a day at low, and say they're a decent sized guy, I would make sure the majority of those carbohydrates are coming from nutrient dense sources. As soon as the carbs keep getting greater and greater and greater, the percent of simple carbs, cream of rice, cakes, white rice keeps going up and up and up because we already have enough micronutrients in the diet.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start getting low calories and people are just eating chicken, rice, and not eating vegetables, and they're eating oil, like no wonder they feel like crap and they have low energy and they can't lose fat. They're deficient in everything else. Sure that there's enough base micronutrients first before I start adding everything else.
Okay, I guess what you're saying makes sense, but I guess I'll have to parse it out this way. Because what you described there was almost like an off-season program, and then you described a pre-contest program. So I'll parse it out this way. So for myself, for example, I noticed that my off-season training is better when I'm adding things like one of your favorite, I noticed one of your favorite things is avocados. So when I'm adding things like avocados, when I'm on my vitamin and mineral regimen, when I'm eating more vegetables and more fruits throughout the day, I notice that I'm healthier and I feel better in the gym and lifting feels better. My joints feel better. Like everything just feels better.
100%.
I never took that into account coming up as a bodybuilder. I just like, okay, I need my steak. I need my fucking potato. I'm going to squirt a shitload of barbecue sauce on it and I'm good.
Yeah.
And so do you think if someone's focused on the numbers, let's say somebody's focused on, I want my bench to get better. Do you think focusing on those micronutrients can help that, or is it more a body composition thing?
It absolutely will help that. There's no question about it. Because, so much research in my master's with cancer survivor mortality, morbidity rate shows that people who eat a balanced diet are much more likely to survive terminal illnesses than people who eat a diet more deficient micronutrients and take vitamins. It doesn't work the same. So they theorize that there's some sort of synergistic effect that food adds together that makes the body stronger and recover better. Do I have the exact answer? No, I'm not going to shoot out weird random theories if it's not proven yet, but I do believe that there's a certain percent, whatever percent that might be, should be of micronutrient dense foods. And obviously if you're trying to gain more weight after the fact, you should be adding obviously other easier to eat things that may necessarily not contain the micronutrients. So everybody's diet should have some degree of a variety of fruits and vegetables. Like the typical bodybuilding diet is horrid. And no wonder so many people have GI issues, because what do you think happens to the GI when you're just slamming straight rice and chicken and beef all the time, So
how do you square this with people that are having great success with just chicken and rice?
Well, I mean, if they have great success with chicken and rice, then they can keep doing chicken and rice. But like, as you know, genetics reign supreme on everything. I mean, I've seen people eat one damn meal a day of fast food and they're benching 4 or 5 or 10 reps,
Yeah.
We can do that. And some people don't seem to be affected as much by others. So usually I become more practical. Somebody comes to me with a terrible diet and I'm like, and they're working great, then I'll work off their diet and maybe just add a few extra things, not take their diet and dump it upside down and eat carrots, spinach, and tomatoes all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And work from a progression. Or if they come to me and they're like, I'm eating hot sauce, rice, and chicken and beef, I feel like shit, my GI sucks, and then I'll flip it upside down.
Yeah. So when you formulate, if a new client comes to you or even old clients, when you're formulating their diets, do you have a set amount of micronutrients you're trying to put into their diet? Or are you just saying, I want you to have a fruit of your choice, I want you to have it, or do you have specific things that you want them to have every day?
Yeah, it's more like specific things that have every day. And like, as you know, a lot of people's adherence to diets are very poor. So you really got to work with what they're going to do, not necessarily what's the most optimal, unless they say to me, Chris, I'll do everything you tell me to do, no matter what. It doesn't matter. That's a different case. But, I usually say, man, I want at least 2 or 3 fruit portions a day. which to me, a portion is 15 grams of carbs.
Can you tell me, before we go on, let's parse this out for people that are listening. Why do you want them to have 2 or 3 portions of fruit a day?
Oh, because of the micronutrients in the fruit. It's an easier to eat carbohydrate. It actually helps digestion. Like apples contain sorbitol, can help you go to the bathroom. It's a good source of fiber. They're relatively cheap. They're very easy to eat. It adds more palatability to different foods. If you're going to add in like a few fresh strawberries to your oatmeal, or if you're going to mash in banana into your cream of rice, the way it gets more potassium in. It's other things to kind of enhance flavors besides just eating plain stuff. And versus having somebody take, a sugar-free jam that's loaded with Splenda that doesn't contain any fruit at all, and they're adding that for the flavor. I'd rather them have something that adds other flavor.
How do you feel about those people that say fructose is bad for you, it's stored in the liver, blah, blah, blah?
They are completely incorrect. If you're consuming a large quantity, to consume enough fructose from fruit to jam out your liver, you'd be having to eat like 2 pounds of pineapple a day. Because 50% of fructose in fruit, it's like anywhere from 5 to 15%. Now, if you go down the street and you go to the gas station and you buy Sour Patch Kids, a couple things like that, you're ingesting more fructose in that bag of Sour Patch Kids than you are if you ate a pound of pineapple.
I don't think people think that. I don't think people realize that, eh?
No, people have no idea. This is the thing. You asked me before, like in the dietitian school, did you learn a lot and how it applies to bodybuilding? No, but what school and education does teach you is really how to feed through the bullshit.
Okay.
I could give people a bogus study that says fish oil causes cancer. And 90% of the people I hand it to, they're like, oh my God, I have to stop taking this. It's like, no, read the study a little more carefully.
Yeah.
The study's totally bogus.
Okay.
They pick up stuff on one study and they look at it. Just like, as you know, like medicine, like you can't take one study and be like, oh, eggs cause increase in serum cholesterol. It's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah.
So people, especially bodybuilders, which is weird, it's like they can't wait to get out of their show backstage. They're eating a bunch of junk and candy, but they're going to sit there and tell me that fruit causes me to have a messed up liver.
Yeah. What